You're about to walk into Harbor Freight, grab that bright orange cart, or scroll their 2025 super coupons thinking, cheap is cheap, a wrench is a wrench. How bad can it be? Just grab whatever's on sale and call it a day. Right? Here's the brutal truth. Not all Harbor Freight tools are created equal. Some are legit workhorses for the money, and some are pure junk that will cost you projects, time, and way more cash in the long run. In this video, I'm ranking 12 Harbor Freight tools and tool lines from worst to best for 2025. The ones you should never buy, the only if you must options, and the few that are actually worth every dollar. Let's get into it. Starting with the one Harbor Freight tool you need to avoid first. Number 12. Chicago Electric 7-inch angle grinder. There it is, a 7-inch angle grinder with a price tag that practically dares anyone to walk past it. Big disc, bold label, budget price. Feels like a hidden gem power on the cheap. A tool that could slice through steel, clean up welds, take on whatever project's been waiting. That optimism doesn't last long. The moment the trigger's pulled for real work, the problems begin. The casing heats up faster than the metal it's grinding. The motor shrieks instead of spins. And the sparks? They're not coming from the blade. They're shooting out from inside the tool itself. Suddenly, the cut becomes a fight. The grinder stutters, seizes, and gives off that unmistakable burnt armature smell. The job stops, not because the work is done, but because the tool just tapped out. That bargain wasn't a win. It was a warning, a countdown clock disguised as a power tool. Something that looks tough on the shelf, but barely survives a single serious task. Save a few bucks? Maybe. Lose time, patience, and the project along the way? Guaranteed. And if this grinder's a disappointment, wait until the next tool, the one that could literally come crashing down on top of everything. Number 11. Pittsburgh 3-ton jack. Stands. A good jack stand is supposed to do one thing. Hold the weight. No drama, no surprises. Just quiet, unshakable support while the work gets done underneath the vehicle. These, not so much. The Pittsburgh 3-ton jack stands look dependable at first glance. Heavy, solid, a familiar name. And that price tag? Way more appealing than what the premium brands charge. But this tool has a history you don't see on the shelf. Recalls, plural, failures during use, welds that let go, locks that don't lock. Real stories of real cars coming down on real people who trusted the wrong stand at the wrong time. It's not just a bad buy, it's a bad bet. Because the moment a car is hanging overhead, trust is everything. And these stands have already proven they don't deserve it. Cheap tools can waste time. These? They can take more than that. So yes, saving a few dollars feels good at the checkout, but underneath a 2-ton vehicle, that bargain suddenly becomes a gamble. And if you think, that's bad, wait until you hear about the tool that shuts down right when the pressure's on, literally. Number 10. Central pneumatic air compressors. At first, the specs seem promising. An air compressor for under $100, with enough PSI on the label to make it look like it could power a shop. It feels like an upgrade. A chance to finally drive those air tools, spray finishes, or fill tires without breaking the bank. But flip the switch, and reality hits harder than the motor ever will. The noise? Not the industrial hum of a hard-working machine, more like a rattling metal tantrum. The pressure? Won't stay steady long enough to finish even small tasks. Start spraying, and the air sputters. Start inflating, and the needle stalls. What you think is power turns out to be a bluff. And worse, it doesn't just underperform. It overheats, it strains, it stalls. Halfway through a simple job, you're standing in a cloud of noise, waiting for the compressor to catch up to itself. It's not an air tool partner. It's a reminder that low cost and long lasting are rarely found in the same box. Because in the end, a compressor that can't deliver pressure isn't a tool, it's a prop. And if you think this is as bad as it gets, just wait until the next tool, the one designed to drill through anything, until it falls apart in the first hole. Number 9. Warrior drill bits. You grab the pack because it's cheap, and who doesn't need extra drill bits? You picture them flying through wood, slicing into metal, and helping you finish all the projects you've been putting off. You think, they look solid enough, and they're just bits, right? But that illusion cracks the moment you start drilling. One hole in, and you feel it. The bit starts to squeal, smoke starts rising, you smell burning metal. Then, snap. The tip breaks, the edge dulls. The bit twists in the chuck like it's trying to escape. You pull it out, and it looks like it's been through a war you didn't sign up for. Suddenly, what was supposed to be a smooth job turns into a disaster. You're trying to extract broken metal from your project. Or worse, you're left with a hole that's scorched, crooked, and permanently ruined. Cheap bits don't just fail, they take your work down with them. And here's the worst part. It doesn't matter if you're drilling wood, metal, or plastic. These bits don't care. They're designed to break, dull, snap, and make your life harder at every turn. Maybe you saved a few dollars, but now you're spending more time digging broken bits out of boards than actually building anything worth keeping. And if you think a broken drill bit is frustrating, wait until you meet the tool that blows through your battery life faster than the leaves it's supposed to clear. Number 8. Bauer cordless leaf blower. On paper, this thing promises freedom. No cords, no gas. Just grab the battery, snap it in place, and clear the yard like a storm's rolling in. The Bauer line has a reputation for punching, above its price, so expectations aren't crazy here. Just power, just portability, just a little piece in the driveway. But the first time it's fired up, those expectations fall flat, literally. The airflow? Barely enough to shuffle a pile of dry leaves. Wet ones? Forget it. And the battery that's supposed to go the distance? Taps out so fast, you spend more time waiting at the charger than working in the yard. It doesn't blow leaves, it blows opportunities. Perfect weather, a planned cleanup. A little time set aside to make things look right. All wasted because this tool showed up with more marketing than muscle. When a cordless tool can't do what its corded cousins do in half the time, the only thing you're really cleaning up is a bad idea. Fast battery drain, weak performance, flashy design, no substance. So yes, the Bauer blower looks like the real deal, talks like the real deal, even sells like the real deal. But once it's in your hands, it proves the real deal never showed up. And if this tool feels like a letdown, the next one is even worse, because it melts under pressure before the job is even halfway done. Number 7. Drill Master. Corded drills. There's something comforting about a corded drill. No batteries to charge, no power drop-off. Just plug in, pull the trigger, and go. The Drill Master corded drill sells that promise reliability without the cost. A no-nonsense tool for anyone just trying to get the work done. But the moment the job stops being gentle, this drill shows its true colors. The motor strains, the chuck loosens. The bit wobbles like it's trying to escape. Push it through anything tougher than soft pine, and the smell of burning insulation starts to seep into the air. It heats up fast. It stalls even faster. And instead of blasting through your to-do list, you're left standing there with a tool that only looks like it's built for the job. It's not a workhorse, it's a show pony. One that quits the second real effort is needed. A drill that talks tough and drills soft. So what began as a quick, simple fix turns into a half-finished hole, a smoking motor, and the sinking realization that even a power cord can't save a poorly made tool. And if you think that's frustrating, wait until you hear about the generator that gives up right when the lights go out. Number 6. Predator gas generators. You pick it up because it promises power during a storm, energy for a campsite, or a lifeline during a blackout. The box says Predator, and that sounds tough. You imagine the lights staying on while the neighborhood goes dark. You imagine running tools in places where cords can't reach. This thing is supposed to be a backup plan, your peace of mind, in a world that doesn't stop when the grid does. But then reality kicks in. You fire it up and it feels fine. for a while, but after a few hours, the fuel line starts to drip. You start seeing faint signs of smoke where there shouldn't be any. And right when you need it most, quiet, neighborhood power cut, food thawing in the freezer, the engine sputters, it chokes, and it dies. Just like that, the one thing you were counting on to save the day becomes the reason you're scrambling for extension cords and candles. And suddenly, you're realizing the truth. A cheap generator isn't just an inconvenience, it's a liability. When you trust low-quality fuel lines, off-brand parts, and inconsistent output, you're rolling the dice with your comfort, your safety, your sanity. You didn't just buy a machine, you bought a gamble. And in the middle of a storm or an outage, that's the last time you want to learn you made the wrong bet. And if you think a failing generator is stressful, wait until you hear about the tool that barely works long enough to sand a piece of wood. Number 5. Central Machinery Belt Sanders. A belt sander is supposed to make sanding easier, faster, cleaner. It's a tool built for smooth finishes and reliable results. The Central Machinery Belt Sander checks all the marketing boxes, seems sturdy, affordable, and ready to take on the rough edges of any project. At least, that's how it looks standing still. Slide your first piece of wood across the belt, and everything starts to go sideways, literally. The belt can't stay centered. It keeps drifting, rubbing against the housing, shredding itself instead of sanding the wood. You adjust, then adjust again. Then you stop and wonder why you're working harder than the machine is. And when the motor finally starts to bog down under pressure, it becomes painfully clear this tool doesn't want to sand anything. It wants rest, relief, and forgiveness, all before the project even gets halfway done. It doesn't smooth, it scars. It doesn't help, it halts. Time wasted, boards ruined, frustration guaranteed. All for a machine that was supposed to save your effort, not steal it. And if a belt sander that can't sand feels like a failure, just wait until the next tool, the one that heats up, shuts down, and forces you to take more breaks than it ever will. Number 4. Titanium welders. You see the Titanium brand and think, finally, an affordable welder that looks like the real thing. You imagine laying smooth beads, repairing metal, building frames, maybe even picking up a new trade skill at a price that feels like a steal. The box promises a clean arc, lightweight design, and all the power you need to weld like a pro. But then comes the test. You fire it up, and it starts off fine. But after a few minutes, the duty cycle slams into you like a wall. The unit overheats. The arc cuts out. You're stuck staring at a blinking light, waiting for the machine to cool down before you can continue. You want to just weld one more joint, but instead, you're frozen in place while your project and your motivation cool off with it. And even when it's running, the arc is inconsistent, cutting too shallow, burning too hot, splattering where it should be smooth. You're not welding, you're begging a machine to help you finish a task it clearly wasn't built for. So now you're not just wasting time, you're wasting metal, patience, and energy. And that pro-grade performance you thought you were buying, turns out that was just a promise. One that melts away faster than your welding wire. If you think a welder that gives up early is bad, wait until you hear about the torque wrench that lies to your face while ruining your work. Number 3. Pittsburgh Pro torque wrenches. Precision tools live or die on one thing: trust. A torque wrench, especially, has one job: tighten a bolt to the exact spec. Not more, not less, just right. The Pittsburgh Pro torque wrench promises exactly that. The price looks smart. The Pro badge whispers confidence. The click seems crisp enough. But trust is fragile. And this wrench breaks it faster than the fasteners it's supposed to secure. The first time you use it, everything seems fine. You hear the click at the right moment. You move on, bolt to bolt, job to job. Then, days later, something starts to shift. A part starts rattling. A bracket loosens. A seal fails. And the blame points right back to the wrench that said, "That's tight enough." Turns out the calibration isn't just off, it drifts. And the longer it's used, the further it falls from accuracy. One bolt too loose, another too tight. And now, you're not fixing anything. You're refixing everything, wasting time, replacing damaged parts, wondering how a tool designed for precision became a liability. This isn't saving money. It's spending more than a reliable wrench would have cost in the first place. And if a torque wrench that lies can ruin a project, the next tool does something even worse. It fails before the project ever gets off the ground. Number 2. Icon snap ring pliers. This one looks sharp, sleek metal, clean lines. The Icon logo stamped on the handle like a badge of honor. Finally, an affordable tool that's dressed like a professional. Something to save the knuckles and the patience that snap rings usually take with them. But the illusion ends the moment pressure begins. The jaws flex when they should hold. The tips slip when they should grip. The spring that's supposed to snap them open sometimes snaps back too late or not at all. Suddenly, that snap ring you were sure was coming loose shoots across the room, or worse, snaps inward and pinches skin. A tiny, high-tension failure that leaves a literal mark. And right then it becomes clear. That professional look wasn't a promise of performance, it was a tourist pass, a disguise. Because these pliers weren't built to handle the job they were made for, they were built to look like they could. A tool that fails under stress isn't just an inconvenience, it's an injury waiting for a place to happen. And if that sounds bad, wait for the number 1 spot, the tool that sells big torque, bold numbers, and battery freedom, but delivers nothing but noise and frustration. Number 1. Hercules 20-volt cordless impact wrench. On the shelf, it feels like a victory. A 20-volt cordless impact wrench that looks like a contender. Big torque rating on the box. Bold marketing telling you it's built to rival the big names. All the power you need without paying pro-level prices. It talks like a beast. But out in the real world, it works like a backup singer trying to headline. The big claim? High torque. The reality? Not enough muscle to break loose a stubborn lug nut. The motor strains, the socket spins, the bolt doesn't budge. And what's supposed to be the Hercules of the tool aisle suddenly sounds like it's begging for mercy. Then there's the battery, the same 20-volt promise that drains faster than a phone on 1%. No all-day performance, no real power under pressure, just frequent recharges and a tool that loses strength quicker than it gains trust. This isn't a powerhouse, it's a sales pitch with a battery attached. And when the motor stalls, the torque dies, and the battery blinks empty, you're left realizing what you really paid for. A fancy-looking tool that's all talk, no torque. So if you've ever thought, it's just a tool, how bad could it be? Now you know, it can be very, very bad. If you want to avoid wasting more money, time, and sanity on tools that let you down, make sure you're subscribed. Because the next video, trust me, you won't want to miss it.